Welcome to Morning Coffee and Mimosas. I'm Christina.
And I'm Joe.
We are a father-daughter duo. We come here Sunday mornings, but you can come here anytime you please. We banter about life, about business, and we do it over coffee and mimosas.
Good morning, Christina.
Good morning, Faj.
Thank you for the good morning.
You know, it's
yes.
a good morning. I had a little bit too much to drink last night.
You're actually putting that on the podcast forever?
Well, I had a couple drinks and went to sleep a little bit too late. And considering we're going to talk about morning routine today, I thought it was appropriate to share that,
Okay, good.
I think after last night, it needs a little reset. I think my morning routine this morning could use a reset. So,
well, it's good that it's Sunday morning. So that's works out for you, didn't it?
Yeah. So I thought I would share with you, Dad, that,
Thank you.
Listeners, today we're going to talk about morning routine, and it comes on the heels of a later evening than usual.
Well, it's funny you said that because yesterday I didn't set to get up really early, but I got up like at 4 o'clock in the morning and was just awake.
I'm always amazed. No matter how late you go to bed, even when you play in the band and stuff,
I know.
You'll go to sleep at 1 a.m, sometimes 2 a.m, and then I talk to you, and I mean, maybe you're up at 6. Like, that's you're sleeping in.
I know. It's funny because last night Mom got mad at me because she wanted something with the fireworks, wanted to go out or something, and I literally fell asleep on the chair at 10, and I was dead because I was up at 4. So anyway, enough of that. We covered both ends of the time.
Exactly.
Now, last week you asked me or actually you didn't ask me. You told me.
Correct.
Yes, and we even put it in the description for last week.
I was trying to drive accountability for you, Dad.
You did, and I worked on.
Are you saying you did your homework?
I did.
I'm very proud of you.
I did, because not only would I be embarrassed in front of you, but in front of thousands
the entire
of people.
Community.
Exactly.
So for those of you that did or did not get to listen, in episode 20,
got to listen to it.
It was I think it was a good episode.
Yeah.
But in episode 20, if I may say so myself, but in episode 20, we did personal vision mission statements. And in that episode, we realized, or Dad, you realized that you had not yet formally ever written one.
Never.
Even though you've always had kind of a vision or mission for your life.
You just float through life.
So I'm so pleased that you did your homework, Dad.
I did. I didn't want to disappoint you and thousands of other people. I don't know that
there's thousands
really
yet. But
all right. So
what is your personal vision?
This is a working copy. So this is not something I'm putting on a frame yet.
They're always working copy, though, right? I mean, eventually you could frame it, but they're always a work in progress.
You're so smart. Yes. Okay.
So let's hear it.
All right. You ready? My mission is to help others have their best life. I live this in this order: my family, profession, volunteer activities, hobbies, and leisure activities. I pursue personal, professional, and recreation with passion, leaving those with me in a better place. I let continuous and constant personal improvement guide me, but always influenced by my intuition. I don't allow my past successes or failings determine my future decisions or plans, and if something interests me, I will try it.
I love that.
That's it. And then I listed, thank you, I listed some attributes.
Well, let's hear them. Let's hear the whole thing.
I listed these because this is what I started with, and then I kind of wrote the top, if you don't know.
You kind of followed my framework.
I did.
Dad, you did a really good job.
Excuse me.
Bravo. Bravo.
Thank
I don't
you.
know how claps sound on the mic, but bravo.
I think it sounds like a clap on the mic.
If not, Brad can edit it out.
Right. Thank God for editing.
Yeah.
But so attributes. I love my wife and children above all.
Amen.
There you go. Ambitious, and that's number one. I mean, all the stuff you could do, but family comes first. So around that.
I appreciate that.
Ambitious, constant learner, flexible. I'm not rigid with things. And underneath that, I put a meticulous planner who frequently abandons those plans.
I think that's great.
It's like my to-do list. If you said, Joe, you forgot to do something. Oh, no. I didn't forget. I just didn't do it.
It's
like, on the list.
It was on the list, and then I decided it no longer served being on the list.
Or I was just too lazy to get to it. But I know I have to do it. Intuitive, self-starter. I do like to please others. I'm optimistic, always asking why. And underneath that, can this be done better, differently, or do we really have to do it? Like maybe not at all. Deliberate, methodical. I do for others. Sociable, enthusiastic, leader who leads by example. I'm self-deprecating. I learn from my faults and mistakes, and I have a good sense of humor, inspiring, and a strong work ethic. And I do want to go back to always asking why. I have to tell you a funny story.
That's a good one.
In fourth grade, Mrs. Voke in St. John's, Bergenfield Catholic School. So if she's still around, this is directed to you, Mrs. Voke.
Uh-oh.
Was that bitter or what?
Why do I feel like you're about to really insult a nun?
No, she wasn't a nun.
Oh, no?
No,
Okay.
she wasn't. No. Anyway, she's my fourth grade teacher. And I will never forget, she used to call me the class congressman. I was always asking questions. Like I would always ask questions. And she literally yelled at me because she didn't know the answer to this question. She was teaching history. And in Catholic, at St. John's, it was the same teacher for the whole day. So at this point in time, it was religion, then it was spelling, then it was history and English, whatever. And I remember we were learning about Christopher Columbus and coming over and all that stuff. And she's talking about how many months it took to go from Spain to where he thought he was going to India, but, you know, he screwed up and he's over here. But it was all these months. And I literally asked how, because then when she was talking about science or something earlier in the week, she's talking about water and the ocean has salt water and you can't drink it. And I literally asked, how did they handle water? Like for all the crew on the ship and all the needs for water, how did they have fresh water?
And she
actually yelled at me. She told me to stop asking questions.
Stop.
I was like, aren't I in school?
You're like, but if you can't drink salt water, what did they do?
So it's funny because it's why.
So she called you the congressman, but what she really meant was pain in the ass.
Pain in the ass because I was a pain in the neck. Yeah, and I wasn't the type of guy that was like, oh, you know, was raising my hand.
You weren't sarcastic. You were just literally curious.
I was so curious. You just told me you can't drink the salt water, and they're out on the. It took 5 months to cross the ocean.
I think she assumed because you were in fourth grade that you were being a jerk, but you were really just like, no, but how do they drink?
How much water could you possibly store on that boat?
She's like, oh, water. Joey's being sarcastic. You're like, no, just curious.
I had to write that. I'm always asking why, because in my job and, in process improvement, that's the question I ask. Why? Why do we do that? What's the process? Well, why? Why this step? Why that step? Is there, so anyway.
Well, and I think that back when we were talking about process improvement, it was kind of like so many times the answer is, I don't know. That's how it's always been done.
Exactly. And once you say that to me, okay, that steps out. Okay, that goes. So anyway, that's what I did for my.
You did a very nice job with that, Dad. I think it's close to being something you can memorialize in print.
Really?
But I will say we may need to narrow down your attributes a bit because you've got just about every adjective in the English language there.
No, it doesn't say loves the beach. There's none of that in here. There's no I love water. There's no I want to be on a boat.
I think typically you want you want the attributes to fit on one hand.
Okay.
5 fingers.
No. Like I told you.
But we can workshop this. It's very good.
Thank you. This is what I wrote to start doing the above. So that's all.
Well done.
Thank you. So I guess this is a good. First of all, I'm happy that I did it.
Yeah, I'm very impressed you got your homework done.
But I think it's a good way to start our topic for morning routine.
I think so too. And this is a topic that I'm excited to hear your thoughts on because I've always been very impressed with the way that you operate your morning. And I don't know that there's a ritual or what, but you accomplish more, I think, before most people open their eyes in the morning. So I think it'll be really good for our listeners to hear a little bit about what does the morning routine mean to you? And I mean, for myself, I'm constantly trying to kind of reconfigure my mornings and figure out what works for me. Is it working out in the morning? Is it journaling? I don't know, whatever. But I'm excited to listen with our listeners and hear from you what makes your mornings work.
Well, thank you. We'll do that. And I want to start by saying morning routine, it could be rephrased initial routine or day starting routine because I don't want anyone to think it has to be in the morning. And if you are a night owl and your morning starts at 11 in the morning, then that's your morning routine. You follow? I happen to be a morning person, so I get up early in the morning. That doesn't work for everybody. So I'm always against people saying what is the quote best way to do something, or it's better in the morning, better at night. No, whatever works for you. Obviously, if you have a job that starts at 7 in the morning and you're a night person, well, I guess you have some adjustment to adjust to, because you have to.
Well, and I think that's exactly it, right? So depending on when your day starts, so let's say most people, their job is, let's call it 8 to 5 or 8 to 6 or something, right? Whether you're a night person or a morning person, you've got to figure out a way to make that work. And you've got to figure out a way to have some kind of a routine in the morning that allows you to effectively start your day.
Yes.
So,
and I'm not going to talk about, have breakfast, have coffee, whatever. I don't care what you do. This is about how to accomplish things.
But you do wake up and have breakfast and have coffee.
I get up early and I have something to eat and I make my own coffee, and yes, I have
He grinds his beans in the morning.
No matter who the hell's around to hear that grinder go. So, but this is going to be for what I do personally to accomplish things. And again, adapt it for yourself. So I do want to say that I believe your morning routine should start the night before. So I'll get to that. But the night before, I think you should really review the day's accomplishments. And by the way, this doesn't take 4 hours. You do this in 5 minutes, 2 minutes, 3 minutes. And I try not to be down on myself. If it was a bad day, meaning a bad day, I just didn't accomplish anything or whatever, so be it. The day is done. But I start with reviewing the day's accomplishments, and I reset due dates and dates that need to be done, and based on what actually happened that day. Now, I use a software program, but you can do it on paper. It doesn't matter. So the tool doesn't matter.
Well, and I think that this is funny because you use this software program. It's called Todoist.
That's what I use.
And when we started this podcast, Dad and I were like, okay, let's use Todoist. And I signed up for it. And I realized that Todoist just doesn't work for me.
It doesn't do it for you.
Because it just becomes another thing that you need to it's another tool that you need to add information into. It's just like another step. In order for it to help you organize, you need to put stuff into it. And I was like, no, our organization styles are not equal. And what works for one didn't work for me.
Whatever works, it doesn't matter. Seriously, you could write it all on paper and then start a new list and just recopy everything. Whatever you do.
But I think that's a good point that you just made, though, because you're ending your day. So in order to start your next morning, you're ending your day kind of taking account for what was accomplished and leaving it there. So you're able to kind of give yourself a grade for the day, and you're able to say,
I don't grade myself.
Well, whatever. You're able to kind of think about pass, fail.
I just crossed that day off. It's done.
Yeah, but the day is done. You take account for what you accomplished or didn't. Right. And then you just literally move on to thinking about the next day and what needs to happen in order for you to feel good about the following day.
That's exactly it. So what I do is I make up a new list, and I always ask the question, because I'm always looking, why? What is tomorrow's intention? What do I really want to accomplish tomorrow? All right? I plan that out. I ask why is it so important, and keep challenging that. Now, if it's a project from work, well, that's why I get fired if I don't do it, or whatever, but something like that. And then I make the list and I set priority levels, so I put that down. And then when you do that and you set up tomorrow, then I'm a big believer that now enjoy your night. Do whatever it is that you want to do and let your subconscious work on that thing. So if you have, it's worked for me. Very often I have something I have to write that it's like a writer, with a blank sheet of paper, and it's so my brain is blank too. I don't know how I'm going to start. I don't know, whatever it is. If you just write that I have to prepare a certain document or something, then leave it alone. You've said it, and I really believe that your brain or your subconscious kind of goes to work on it. So anyway, enjoy your evening. Now it's the morning. Now it's this morning, right?
So your alarm's going off 4:30 a.m.
Right.
That's not an exaggeration.
No, it's not an exaggeration. So, when the first I get up and, wash up and make coffee and all that stuff. But when I'm ready to look at now my list, so I now look at the list again and I review the day ahead. So this is what I have. And again, I'll say, if you didn't do it last night then you better darn do it before you start the day. So in other words, if you didn't plan the intention, the important stuff for the day, do it now.
So if you didn't do it before you went to sleep, the first thing you're going to do when you wake up is plan your intention for the day.
Correct.
So basically, I mean, for the listeners, make sure you have an intention for the day, whether you plan it the night before or you do it first thing when you wake up.
Intention is what's most important to be done today.
And I believe in that big time because I have, an ever-growing to-do list. But the one thing that I do every day is I decide what are the top 3 things that I need to accomplish that day. And if they don't all get accomplished, then that moves to the next one. But if you at least have, and it doesn't have to be 3, but you have your top things, like that's where, to your point, Dad, it's like you have your priorities and then you have your to-dos.
Right.
But as long as you keep focused in what the top 3 things are you need to come away from that day, then you know if your day was successful or not.
Yes. And the biggest thing that it does is it prevents you from being victim to distractions or other people's priorities that are not your priorities.
Yes.
So I'm going to use the example of our podcast. So this morning we are recording a podcast, right? So that's the intention for the day, let's say, or for the morning. This is the podcast. Well,
good thing we we got that one done.
We're not done yet.
Imagine we had to push it to tomorrow. That'd be awkward.
It'd be awkward, right? Yeah. Good morning, Monday. But the point is, because you know that, if somebody calls you or sends you an email or a text and says, oh, hey, do you have time to whatever? Guess what? The answer is no.
Yeah.
It's no. No, I don't have time. Or not now. I have time later. You got it? But if you don't, and you're kind of wishy-washy and all over the map, then you go, yeah, sure, call me. What do you want? And then that's 15 minutes, 20 minutes, 5 minutes, 2 minutes, whatever. And then you say at the end of the day, oh my God, I didn't get to do what I wanted to do.
You're so right. And I think that's something, the hijack of your time, it comes from all angles.
Yes.
And will happen so easily and you don't even notice it if you don't have an intention for what the day brings.
But
and you don't have blocks of what you're going to do. And I've gotten to the point where I'm like, okay, I will put my phone somewhere else because even like a text message coming in or somebody like pinging you on a Teams chat, all of a sudden the thing you have to accomplish, it's like, how many things are really so urgent that it can't take an hour, that you get back to something in an hour, right?
Right. So that's why that you prioritize those things that you need to get done.
Yeah, that's important.
And then the one little thing I'm going to gamify my day sometimes because I think if you make things fun or a little bit of a challenge, and so by gamify meaning I try to get at least 5 things done on my list, even though one of them might take an entire day. So I'll try to do 2 or 3 simple things right off the bat. And that way it's kind of like, hey, I got a couple things done.
Oh, that's good though. So you kind of give yourself a little bit of a challenge. You're like, let's see if I can get 5 things off the list by noon.
Or by the end of whatever the period of time. But
you set some kind of like little game that you have to challenge yourself. I like that.
Yeah, I actually think it sounds silly and like, Joe, you're a grown man.
No, but for like the competitive side of us, competing with ourselves.
I'm competing with myself. It's like, son of a bitch, I'm going to get 5 things done today. Yeah, but that one big thing could take the whole day. I know, but I'm going to, let's see. Yeah, I'm going to throw laundry in. I'm going to put the garbage out and I'm going to send a birthday wish to my friend. Okay, that's 3 things done.
So you put, you put wake up on your to-do list.
That's it. Make coffee.
You're like, open right eye, open left eye.
Yeah.
2 checks.
And by the way, I'm joking about that. You don't want to put on the list, like if you have to put on your to-do list routines that you should be doing every day, like don't forget to brush your teeth, don't forget to whatever. I mean, come on. But so I was making fun about the 3 things. But if there are easy things to get done that you can knock out in a few minutes or a half hour, do them. But keep focused on that priority.
But I think but that's an important thing because sometimes starting the day, if you start the day with some of the easy things, it starts you getting in a mindset of accomplishing things and you start feeling good about yourself. So even if it's something that's super simple, maybe it's like approving something or like, something that's mindless, but you can tick it off right away just to get you in the mindset of I'm getting things done, I'm accomplishing things, and then you move on to something. That's a
good point you make because I get all day like from accounting invoices to approve, and sign off on. Whatever, but then I'll say, you know what? Let me knock 3 of them out this morning, and then get on and start with it. So that's a good point. And not most important, but importantly also, stay consistent with it. Do this every day if you can. And my final thought, and then I'll shut up, is you have to be flexible regardless. So this is my routine. This is what I do. You may want to start with it and then adjust it for you. The test is if you find yourself more and more meeting your responsibilities in a timely manner, then it's working. If you find that it's still not helping you, then do something different. You know what I'm saying?
And that's the whole thing, right? It's like change it up. And that's where, you might find some people work out in the morning. Some people find that working out in the morning doesn't work for them.
And working out was not on my...
I know, Dad. I'm just, I think some of our listeners probably do value exercise, and it is something
then it belongs on your list.
It's something that, most normal humans get a little bit of a dopamine burst when they exercise or feel fresh air in their lungs. But I'm sure that we have some Joe Grazianos listening too that I'm just
giving them hope that I have no aches and pains because I don't stretch anything to
You are not a very good example for anybody that has any aspirations of physical fitness.
Just saying. So what do you think?
I think you've got a good routine. There's a lot of people who have talked about morning routines, and I think usually people start with gratitude and all of that. And there's a lot of fluff that goes into, but one thing that you didn't mention that I think is super important is going to sleep. Like, you get sleep.
I do.
And you pretty much have the same bedtime every night.
Right.
And
well, within reason, yeah.
Within reason, right? I mean, not like you're a baby and you rigidly are like 8 p.m. I'm in bed. But I think I find if I can keep a little bit consistent with going to bed by 10:30, 11 every night.
Right.
And up
That's
by
about
5:30. Like, if I can keep consistent, I notice the best weeks I have is when I'm consistently going to sleep and consistently waking up at the same time. So I think that's part of it. But you need to get sleep. Otherwise, none of that routine
I get up early,
effective.
but I don't go to bed at 1 o'clock in the morning.
Right.
Well, and the reason I started out by saying what I said earlier was I'm not telling anybody to get up early in the morning. Whatever works for you, just have a routine.
Yeah.
For accomplishing things. That's all I'm saying. I'm not dictating that you should get up early in the morning and go to bed earlier at night.
I agree. And I think if there's one thing that the biggest takeaway is don't start your day without knowing exactly what you intend for it and
spending some time with it.
Yeah, spend 10 minutes making a plan and knowing the top 3 things that you need to accomplish that day.
Right. And if you can end your day and take stock and if you can set up your next day the night before, that's ideal in my book. But if you didn't, in the morning, don't just start diving in and, then looking
aimlessly,
on the internet
right.
and start doing stuff and someone sends you don't do that. So that's my suggestion. So I think we did good.
I'll take it.
All right.
Going to start the week fresh tomorrow. I encourage all of our listeners to do the same. Start tonight. Let's go to sleep tonight. Set the intention for tomorrow. And then wake up tomorrow and know the top 3 things that we're going to get done.
Beautiful.
I will feel much more rested tomorrow morning, too. I can guarantee it.
Good. Do it. Wherever you are, whatever your story, thanks for spending time with us this morning. Now, go and make a difference in your world.
Thanks for listening, everybody. If you liked what you heard, go ahead and share it with a friend.
That's the best advice. Have a great week, everyone.
Thanks, everybody.